there's different principles of this different principles of steganography. This talks about method here. How do you hide a message in plain sight? The art or practice hide a message within other information is called steganography, so forth. In this case, we got like a image, and you want to hide a message inside the image. You see, they talk about a little about the history here. Summer of 2010, the FBI discovered a ring of alleged Russian spies have been using steganography to hide information and images posted on public websites. Why send an email that they could intercept? Why do a phone call? If you can pass a message in one of the gazillion images that are out on the internet, then on some web page somewhere, then that's better. So if our different enemies, terrorists, whatever, can hide images in or hide messages in images, what do you think the government probably has? Tools. Probably have a gazillion servers sitting there analyzing every image on the internet, right? I'm hoping. I'd be very disappointed if that was not true. Yeah. You can imagine this bigger than Google, the Google search, this big search engine for the governments to go through and every image, that's on a web page, bring it in and see if there's any information hidden in it. They used to claim that the terrorists were using eBay to pass messages back and forth. One point in time, eBay made an effort where they modified every image. Because if you got a message hidden in here by one of these tools, if you change one pixel, then they'll lose the message. So every image you uploaded to eBay, they deliberately put in a little image down in the bottom corner because they wanted people to feel secure about their site. I'm sure they still do modify the image. When you upload an image to eBay, I'm sure they still modify it in some way. They no longer put that in the corner, though. But that was their explanation of the world that, hey, we're doing something about this. Terrorists are no longer passing information via our auction posts. They're pretty good about it. I'm assuming that any of these places that create any kind of catalog of images are good about it. But is every website good about it? No. I'm assuming Facebook does it. But now, when you look at an image, it's full of let's see. Each pixel is a sample of the original image. Images are actually made up of grid of dots or squares called pixels. For example, here's a picture of a house. Do you notice anything weird about it? No, nothing really strange. Nothing really strange. As I zoom in more and more, you see these little squares appear. Those are your pixels. And the better quality image, the more pixels you have in this type of image format. There's other types of image. Unfortunately, I don't even remember where I put my change at. Let's see if I can spot it. Probably not. Nah, not gonna be able to spot it. Okay, now here in the colors, you see there's a hex value here. So I could type in a hex value, whatever I want. And this hex value could correspond, at least part of the hex value, could correspond to part of a message. And so now that I got that, if I come over, I change 1 pixel, like that right there. And now I've just embedded a little part of my message in there. And of course, you have to have some kind of scheme, that you're gonna, what pixels are gonna be, and so people know how to extract the data. If I start zooming out, you still see it? Yeah, still see it, right? Do you see it anymore? I can kind of see it right down here, I think. You have to look really careful. See how it's right there now? So that's one of the techniques that you can use to embed a message in an image. Well, that's kind of tedious. They talk about this here. When examining the image in the hex editor, we can see hexadecimal values that make up the image. So you come down here, you can see all the hexadecimal values make up that image. Computers are run in 32-bit color mode today, are capable of displaying 16.7 million different color shades. There's so many different shades. The difference between some of these shades can be indistinguishable to the human eye. And this is what we're talking about here. Is I just willy-nilly picked a value. But if we just change not all 6, but you change just certain ones, do you see a difference between these 2 colors? No. But you see I've embedded some codes in here. So I can embed codes in there and not change what it looks like. That's a pretty dramatic change I made on that one. They got an example here, ducks go quack. This talks about your text value, hex value here. It talks about embedding the pixels. Or changing the pixels, I should say. So new hex values. Now, you see this 44 right here? That's in hex, right? If I look at 44 in hex on my ASCIItable.com, see we got 44 here. See what it corresponds to? D. So that's the D off of ducks. Good so far? Okay. Now over here, what they've done is at 44, see they've embedded in this position. Notice that these other numbers are the same. So by those other numbers being the same, then it should not dramatically change the image. Of course, to extract this, and you have to know You'll know that information. Get there eventually. There it goes. There's a over here in this tool, paint.net. There's a magic wand right here. And if I click that, not magic wand. There's magic wand. If I click, I don't want magic wand. I want color picker. Which one's color picker? Oh, this one. I come over and click this. Now, if you don't see all the options here, like if you just see this, you click the more. Do you see the hex value right here? If I want to change that, put 44 in there. I do a 4 here. Let's see if I can undo that. There we go. Had to shut off the color picker. Let's see. I'm going to change that to a 4. And I'm going to change this to a 4. And at that point, I could do my paintbrush and paint that pixel back. Now, as I move my mouse here, very important down here, you see down in the bottom right-hand corner where it says 386, 242? That tells where I'm at. So if I click there with my paintbrush, then I just change that pixel to have this new value. Good so far? Okay. Now what I want you to do is the first part of the lab is I want you to embed Happy Days into an image. You'll need to look up the hex values that correspond to Happy Days. That's off the ASCII chart. And you need to tell me where you're changing it at. Remember that was over here. If I put my mouse right there, that one says 395, 241. So you'd want to record off 395, 241. Because I'm going to go and look at those pixels and see if I can see Happy Days there. So record the location of the pixel and change the second and fourth values. You want to see that again? Do you feel good about that? Feel good? Okay. So that's the first part. Second part will be a lot easier. That'll be a little bit tedious. As you see, you have to get kind of used to the tool. Second part is I want you to install this, and I'll enter in the Kali password for you if you got a Kali machine. I'm not sure how you say it. Xiao, Xiao steganography. This is, I think, an older version, so yours might look a little bit different, but still the same principle. Now, if I open it up, I'm going to click Add Files. Maybe. Let's try it again. Add files. There it goes. Now I'm going to load target file. And you want to use a bitmap. In paint.net, if you paste an image in there and you save as BMP, you'll have a bitmap. BMP. So that loads in the image. You click next. And then I want you to add a file to it. In my case, all I added was a what was it? Message.txt. Right by it. There it is. I loaded in just a text file I created in Notepad. So you add that in there. Now, there are limits to it. If you try to put something in that's too big for that particular image, it'll tell you. And then click next. You can leave all that as default. Next. And then you give it a new name. Now you can see the final file here. It hasn't changed any. If you look at it, you don't see any differences. But there are hex differences. So hex codes are different inside that file. It's embedded in there. Some of these packages will change images, like little pixels. Some of them will just put it at the end. So there's different ways they do it. I'll click Finish. To test that it worked, if you come to this Extract Files, the second option, you say Load Source File. You load the new house that you just created, or whatever image. Click Next. It'll tell you there's a TXT file stored in there. And you can say Extract File, message3.txt, and then you click Finish. And now, if I go over to my pictures, I have that message3. Which I was real clever. I just said message. So again, what I want you to do there is to install Zio Steganography. Not that I can spell it. Software. Create a bitmap or find one. Embed a file into it. And upload the resulting file. That'd be worth 100 points total. It'll be 50 points for each part. There's 2 parts there. Questions on what I'm looking for? The what? What'd you say?
I'm waiting to refer to the video.
Oh, on this.
What to do? I just didn't have the program to do it.
Well, I'll go ahead and stop the recording here.